Hi class, so I am reading through the handout that's posted in the module, and for this mini lecture we're going to take a look at point of view. So I'm just going to go ahead and read through this, and I might stop and make some additional comments. So point of view, as you probably remember in literature, point of view has to do with basically who's telling the story, as a first person, second person, a third person. So let's see how that compares to point of view in film. So it says, before we examine specific films for point of view, we ought to explore in general terms how point of view is expressed through film and where this may overlap with point of view in literature. In film, we look at point of view by looking at focalization. Focalization offers a way to describe film shots by identifying the point of view behind those shots. There are three such classifications: subjective, authorial, and neutral. So I just wanted to go back to the focalization. So we will be able to tell the point of view by kind of looking at the perspective from the lens, okay? So the first type is subjective. This is a type of shot that aligns us clearly with one character's point of view. It is normally established through use of an eye line match, and it generally shows us only what the character is seeing or what he or she is able to see. So let me stop there for a second. So you can probably see that this would be kind of a limited point of view, right? If the viewer is only seeing what the character sees. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the entire film is going to be shot that way, but it might be a specific scene. All right. So imagine, for example, we see a man hunting lions in the middle of the jungle. We hear sound, and we see him looking around. And we cut back to his face tensing up, and then we cut back to the lion leaping out. The lion is rushing directly toward the hunter, toward the camera, and thus toward us. You see what he sees and feel what he feels. This might be closest to a first-person kind of narration, where the narrator is an actual character in the story, and we see it through his or her eyes. This means, of course, that sometimes we do not get certain information, since the character, too, does not have it. So like I said, it could be kind of limited. All right, so take a look at this little storyboard type thing. So here's our subjective point of view, right? So the first shot, right, we see the hunter looking, okay? That is going to establish that subjective first-person type point of view, right? Because right when we go from the character's face to the lion here in the bushes, we know that we are seeing that lion through this character's point of view. And then we see the reaction. I'm going to get that lion, okay? Okay, so now let's take a look at the authorial point of view. So in this type of shot, the view cannot be attributed to any character within the film unless it is a way for the director, the author of the film, to give information directly to the audience without also giving it to one of its characters. So now, it's kind of flipped. Sometimes, right, the audience might become privy to information that the character doesn't. Back to our lion hunter, we hear the same sound and see the man looking around, but this time we do not cut to his point of view. Instead, the camera dollies around behind him and shows us a huger, ferocious lion waiting in the bushes. Cut back to the man unaware of the lion's presence. And a long shot now, we see the hunter standing there with his gun as the lion is bearing down on him from behind. We, the audience, have information that the character does not. This type of information, though, does not always have to be communicated only through framing of the shot. The authorial information could come in the form of lighting that comments on a character's inner state of mind, or music that signals that a big shark is coming. Da-dun, da-dun. Those of you who are familiar with that. Or that a killer is on the way to the character's shower. This type of shot and this method of conveying information might best be described as third-person omniscience, right? So there is a literary term that we're on, because the audience get the details directly without their being filtered through a character. This does not mean, however, that this narrator is to be trusted any more than a first-person narrator. only that its source is different. Okay, so back to the storyboard, right? We have our authorial. The high angle shot at number 1 lets us, the viewer, know the precarious position that the hunter is in. Shots 2 and 3 give the audience information that the hunter does not, right? That this lion is sneaking up on him, basically. So that could create some sort of dramatic irony, perhaps. Okay. And last but not least, we have neutral. This point of view is closest to third-person narrator who observes but does not comment, intrude, or get insight of the character's thoughts. In terms of focalization, most shots in a film will be characterized as neutral because not every shot can be subjective or authorial. It would lose its effect. Okay. So finally, we have our neutral storyboard. We do not see anything through the hunter's perspective, nor do we see any dramatic angles. It's pretty much straightforward, right? No dramatic lighting or framing that might suggest an authorial shot. So I hope that makes sense, and thanks for listening.